Nobody heard me crying. But heaven did. The room was cold, the lights were fading. I could barely breathe at all. Every prayer felt weak and broken, like they vanished through the walls. I tried hiding all the damage, tried pretending I was strong. But every night the silence told me I had carried this too long. And somewhere in the darkness, a peace I can't explain wrapped around my shattered soul and softly called my name. He heard me in the silence when nobody else could see. When my whole world was falling, Jesus still reached for me. Through every tear I buried, through every broken dream, heaven stayed beside me when the night was too deep. And when my faith was fading, His mercy covered me. He heard me in the silence when nobody heard me. Showed a tired stranger standing lost beneath the scars. Every memory felt heavy, like a sky without the stars. Then I felt His presence near me, like warm fire in the rain. And for the first time in forever, I didn't feel ashamed. No thunder in the heavens, no ocean split apart, just Jesus in the silence, healing every broken part. He heard me in the silence when nobody else could see. When my whole world was falling, Jesus still reached for me. Through every cry I whispered, through every trembling prayer, heaven walked beside me when I thought nobody cared. And when the darkness held me, His light refused to leave. He heard me in the silence and pulled my soul to peace. Even when I stopped believing, He still called my heart by name. Even when my hands were shaking, Jesus stayed through all the pain. No, I was never truly alone, even in my deepest fear, 'cause heaven was still listening every time I cried those tears. He heard me in the silence when the whole world turned away. When the shadows tried to break me, His love remained the same. Now every scar reminds me how His grace rescued me. Jesus found me in the silence, and finally set me free. Nobody nobody heard me crying, but heaven did. Something changed that night. Like heaven walked among us. Candles flickered near the altar, golden shadows filled the walls. Nobody was even speaking. You could feel the silence call. Every heart came carrying burdens, every soul dragged in the rain. Broken people searching somehow for a reason to remain. An old piano started trembling, soft beneath the quiet light. Then a single voice kept singing, and the whole room came alive. No thunder shook the heavens, no fire filled the sky, just mercy moving softly through every tear-filled eye. That was the night heaven touched this room. Tears fell underneath the moon. Every broken soul could feel something holy becoming real. And when the choir softly cried, every fear inside us died. Jesus filled the empty room. The night heaven finally moved. One young mother held her daughter while they wept beside the pews. An old man raised his shaking hands, like he finally found the truth. Even strangers held each other like family in the light. And for one brief holy moment, nobody wanted to hide. The pastor stopped his message midway, 'cause the Spirit filled the air. People dropped down to their knees, like Jesus himself was there. finally moved. No, no fame, no lights, no glory could ever match that night when broken souls found mercy inside His holy light. And even now I still remember the peace that filled the air, 'cause once you feel His presence, you know He's always there. That was the night heaven touched this room, and nothing stayed the way it used to.
Every lost soul found a home.
Every broken heart was known. When the final prayer was spoken, nobody walked away unchanged, 'cause Jesus walked among us and healed our deepest pain. Oh, something changed that night, like heaven touched us all. Something changed that night. Like heaven walked among us. Candles flickered near the altar. Golden shadows filled the walls. Candles flickered near the altar. Golden shadows filled the walls. Nobody was even speaking. You could feel the silence call. Every heart came carrying burdens. Every soul dragged in the rain. Broken people searching somehow for a reason to remain. That old piano, I thought it was the end, until I felt Him standing there. Hospital lights were softly fading. Midnight echo filled the room. Every second felt like forever. Every breath felt closer to doom. Machines were singing cold and empty. Family crying down the hall. I kept staring at the ceiling, wondering if heaven heard my call. The doctor said, just keep on fighting. But my soul was growing weak, and somewhere in the lonely silence I my tears. Then warmth rushed through the darkness like sunlight through the rain, and suddenly I felt a peace wash away the pain. Jesus stood beside my bed when I thought my hope was dead. Through the fear and through the night, He wrapped my soul inside His light. And though the storm still shook my heart, His mercy pulled the dark apart. Heaven met me where I bled when Jesus stood beside my bed. No angels singing in the distance, no thunder falling from above, just quiet peace around my spirit, and arms that felt like endless love. The room was still, but something changed me. Every burden slowly broke, and for the first time in forever, I finally felt hope. My shaking hand stopped trembling softly. Tears rolled slowly down my face, 'cause somewhere deep within that silence, I knew I'd been touched by grace. No words could ever explain it, no miracle on display, just Jesus near the broken, refusing to walk away. Jesus stood beside my bed when the whole world filled with dread. Through every scar and every cry, He stayed there through the longest night. And even when my strength was gone, His love kept holding on. Heaven heard each word I said when Jesus stood beside my bed. Oh, oh, oh. Even now the memory hits me like warm fire in the rain. How the silence turned to healing, how His love erased the pain. And though my scars still live inside me, one truth remains instead: I will never doubt His mercy, 'cause Jesus stood beside my bed. Jesus stood beside my bed and brought my dying soul back breath. When fear tried tearing me apart, He held the pieces of my heart. Now every prayer inside my chest reminds me I was truly blessed, 'cause heaven came when hope had fled. The night Jesus stood beside my bed. Oh, I thought it was the end, until He stood beside me there.
Nobody expected what happened that night. Then one voice broke the silence.
Sunday lights were glowing softly, choir robes swayed in the air. People came with hidden burdens, smiling like no pain was there. The preacher opened up the Bible, but stopped before he read a line. 'Cause an old man near the front row started crying quietly inside. His hands were shaking by the altar, eyes filled up like pouring rain. Then he whispered, "Jesus, save me." And the whole room felt the change. No music played behind him, no spotlight filled the stage. Just one broken voice reminding us that mercy still remains. When the whole church started crying, heaven opened wide that night. Every soul began surrendering to the mercy and the light. Chains were breaking all around us, tears were falling side by side. Jesus walked among his people when the whole church cried. Oh! One young woman hugged her mother. Both were shaking in the pews. The little boy beside his father raised his hands like he just knew. Even strangers held each other like family through the pain. And every prayer inside that building started sounding heaven's name. The choir couldn't keep on singing, voices cracked beneath the tears. 'Cause suddenly the room was flooded with peace instead of fear. No fire fell from heaven, no mountains moved apart, just Jesus healing wounded souls inside our broken hearts. When the whole church started crying,
Every fear just disappeared.
all the walls we built around us finally broke beneath his tears. And every lost and hurting person found forgiveness deep inside. Jesus wrapped his arms around us. When the whole church No one cared about the music, no one cared who heard them pray. 'Cause in that holy moment, every shame just washed away. And I still hear those voices echo softly in my mind. Broken people finding healing. The night the whole church cried. When the whole church started crying, heaven filled the room with light. Every broken heart was rescued by the Savior standing near that night. And all the years may pass before me, one truth Nobody expected it, but heaven touched us that night.
I thought I was too far gone, until I heard his name. I was walking through the ruins of the life I broke apart. Every road led into darkness, every scar lived in my heart. I kept running from forgiveness, trying hard to hide my shame. But every night the silence whispered, Jesus still remembers your name. Then I heard the story slowly of a hill called Calvary, how the Son of Heaven suffered just to set a sinner free. And somewhere through the sorrow, my broken soul could see that every drop of mercy was poured out there for me. He left the cross for me, carried every scar for me, every sin and every shame. Jesus took the blame for me. And when my faith was dying, his love still covered me. I was lost forever, till he left the cross for me. I remember staring upward at the rain against the sky, thinking heaven had forgotten every tear I cried inside. Then I opened up the Bible, and the words cut through my pain. Father, forgive them, echoed softly like healing through my veins. No crown of gold around him, no army at his side, just wounded hands stretched open wide, still full of endless life. And suddenly I realized grace was always free. The King of all creation gave everything for me. He left the cross for me, bore the nails and agony, every fear and every wound Jesus carried willingly. And now every breath I breathe belongs to the one who freed me. I was chained eternally, till he left the cross for me. Even when I turned away, even when I lost my faith, he still walked that road alone, just to bring his children home. And no darkness can erase the mercy written by his grace, 'cause the blood that flowed that day still washes every sin away. He left the cross, opened heaven's doors for me. Through the suffering and pain, Jesus broke my every chain. And when this life is over, one some truth will live in me. I was saved forever, 'cause he left the cross for me. I thought I was too far gone, until he carried my name to the cross. Numbs the silence, as heaven prepared to call him home. Morning light touched all the valleys. Clouds moved slowly through the sky. Every disciple walked behind him, trying hard not to cry. Peter stared down at the pathway. John could barely lift his eyes. No one wanted this moment coming. No one wanted goodbye. Jesus stopped beside the mountain. Wind moved softly through his robe, and for one brief holy second, peace covered the world below. No thunder shook the heavens, no oceans rose that day. Just the Savior standing calmly before he walked away. Before the angels sang, before heaven called his name, he looked into our broken hearts and promised he would stay. And even now I hear him every time I kneel and pray. The voice that calmed the darkness, still calling me today. Thomas held his fears in silence. Matthew wiped away his tears. Mary stood there softly trembling, still remembering all those years. Then Jesus raised his wounded hands. Sunlight filled the air, and every soul upon that mountain mercy filled the breeze, and every heart around him fell down upon their knees before the angels sang, before the clouds took him away. He left his peace among us so we would never be afraid. And even through the sorrow, his promise still remains. The King who rose in glory will one day come again. I still imagine that mountain, the silence in the air, the moment heaven opened and Jesus disappeared. But even after all these years, one truth still comforts me: the Savior who ascended still watches over me. Before the angels sang, before heaven lit the sky, he wrapped the world in mercy before he said goodbye. And though the clouds received him, his love will never fade, 'cause Jesus left his spirit before the angels sang. The mountain stood silent and heaven opened wide. Hey! I thought I was too lost to come back, but my mother never stopped praying. I was driving through the midnight with nowhere left to go. Every road behind me burning, every bridge turned cold. I spent years running from forgiveness, trying hard to hide my shame. But somewhere in the quiet darkness, my mother still spoke heaven's name. She would kneel beside her old bed, hands shaking while she prayed, asking Jesus not to lose me, even when I walked away. And though I never listened, her tears still reached the sky, 'cause mercy kept on chasing me every single night. My mother prayed reached the throne beyond the stars. And when I finally fell apart, Jesus found my shattered heart. Now I know I'm not alone, 'cause my mother prayed me home. Oh, I remember one cold morning, standing broken in the rain, tired of fighting all the darkness, tired of carrying the pain. And then a voice came back like thunder, soft but burning through my chest. Son, no matter where life takes you, never gives up yet. And suddenly I started crying, like the chains were breaking free. All the prayers she whispered softly were finally rescuing me. No choir sang around me, no fire filled the skies, just heaven answering the prayers. My mother prayed through tears at night. My mother prayed me home when my faith was dead and gone. Every scar I tried to bury, Jesus carried all along. And though I walked through endless darkness, grace still led me through the storm. Now every step reminds me my mother prayed me home. Hey, hey. I still see her by the window, Bible resting in her hands, whispering my name to heaven, begging God to understand. And now every prayer I pray carries her faith inside my soul. 'Cause one praying mother's love can bring a broken child back home. My mother prayed me home, back into the Savior's arms. Every night she fought for me with nothing but her faith and heart. And when this life is finally over, one truth forever will be known: I was saved because a mother never stopped praying me home. I thought I was too lost, but my mother never gave up on me.
Though heaven had forgotten me, but the light was still on. Rain kept falling through the city, cold wind moving down the street. Every prayer I tried to whisper felt too weak to even speak. I was carrying old memories like chains wrapped around my soul, trying hard to hide the darkness nobody else could know. Every night I kept on wondering if God still heard my cries, 'cause silence filled the spaces where faith used to be alive. And somewhere through the midnight, a peace began to shine, like mercy standing softly right beside this heart of mine. Through every storm I carried, through every endless night, heaven kept the door wide open, with love still burning bright. I remember
was staring upward at the clouds above the rain, asking God if he still wanted someone drowning in their shame. And then one thrust through the silence like sunrise through the dark, and suddenly I felt forgiveness reaching deep into my heart. No thunder rolled around me, no angels filled the sky, just quiet grace reminded me I never left his mind. And every tear I buried started washing clean away, 'cause mercy never stops searching, even when I lost my faith. The light was still on in heaven when my world was falling down. When the shadows tried to break me, Jesus still stayed around. And though I wandered far away, his love still called my name. Heaven left the light on for me till I finally came home again. Now I know no road is hopeless, no soul is too far gone, 'cause somewhere past the darkness his mercy still shines on. And every broken heart can find him, even through the deepest pain, 'cause heaven never stops waiting for lost souls in the rain. The light was still on in heaven, even through my darkest years. Every prayer I thought was dying was still reaching heaven's ears. And now every scar reminds me how his grace brought me new life, 'cause heaven kept the light on till Jesus led me through the night. I thought heaven forgot me, but the light was still on.
Nobody saw him at first, but suddenly everything changed. Thousands gathered in the cathedral, candles glowing in the dark. Every soul came carrying burdens, every heart carried scars. The choir sang about redemption, soft beneath the golden lights. But something deeper filled the room as heaven touched the night. An old woman started trembling, tears rolled slowly down her face. Then a silence fell around us, like mercy filled the place. No thunder shook the building, no fire lit the sky, but suddenly every broken soul could feel him standing nearby. Jesus walked through the crowd, and every heart cried out. Every chain began to fall when heaven touched us all. And no one wanted to leave, 'cause suddenly we believed that Jesus still moves somehow, like he walked through the crowd.
they cried beside the aisle. Strangers wrapped their arms together like lost children reconciled. People lifted shaking hands, voices cracked beneath the tears. Every prayer became a river, washing out the fear. Even the preacher stopped speaking, 'cause the Spirit filled the air. And for one brief holy moment, it felt like Jesus truly stood there. No spotlight stood above him, no crown was shining bright, just peace flowing through the broken, like healing in the night. Jesus walked through the crowd, and all the walls came crashing down. Every wounded soul could feel his mercy moving all around. And through every cry and trembling voice, hope finally was found, 'cause heaven touched our hearts that night when Jesus walked through the crowd. I still remember all the faces covered in tears and grace. How one moment changed forever, every life inside that place. And even now when I feel lost, I close my eyes somehow and still can feel the presence of Jesus in the crowd.
Jesus walked through the crowd,
And darkness couldn't stand around. Every broken chain was shattered when his love came pouring down. And though the night is long sometimes, one truth still calls me now. Heaven still moves among us, like Jesus in the crowd. Nobody saw him at first, and suddenly heaven filled the room. Hurting, even through the storm inside me. I was standing by the river, cold wind blowing through the night, trying hard to hide the memories, trying hard to survive. Every road behind felt broken, every prayer felt far away. I kept searching through the darkness for one reason left to stay. The sky was heavy with the silence, tears were falling with the rain. when Jesus called my name. I remember all the nights I thought I'd gone too far, carrying shame like heavy chains, hiding every scar. But his voice broke through the darkness like sunlight after rain. And suddenly the weight I carried started falling away. Every wall around my heart slowly disappeared, 'cause for the first time in forever I no longer fear. No choir sang around me, no oceans moved apart, just Jesus speaking softly straight into my heart. When he called my name, mercy washed away the pain. Every broken part of me finally could breathe again. And through every storm I faced, his love still remained. Heaven changed my life forever when Jesus called my name. Even when I stopped believing, he still stayed beside my soul. Even when I kept on running, his grace refused to let me go. And now every prayer I whisper carries peace instead of shame, 'cause nothing stays the same forever after Jesus calls your name. When he called my name, darkness couldn't hold me chained. Every tear I cried in silence was answered by his grace. And though this world may break me, his love still remains. I found heaven in the moment. Jesus called my name. I heard him. Even through the storm, I heard him. Even through the storm.